Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Lap Zero podcast. We are here today for lap 39. It's going to be the Ryan Newman episode. That's, I think, who we picked to be in the 39 car because there wasn't really many choices. I am joined today by none other than Dave, Norman, and myself, Antonio. Unfortunately, Levi can't join us this week. He's got some stuff on the go, so we're going to do our usual, run you through some NASCAR, run you through some Formula One, and then, progress into In It, Bin It, and Win It. We ended up missing last week. We apologize for that. We just had some stuff come up. We couldn't all end up getting together and have a time to, I guess, get everything going. We did do our In It, Win It, and Bin It picks, which actually did end up being pretty interesting, so that'll be cool to update you on how that's going. Aside from that, if y'all don't got anything else, do we want to just roll ourselves right into some NASCAR? I can update you guys on how the last week went.
Some NASCAR.
Update us on last week.
Let's go. So I gotta go double check where we actually went last week because I know I can't remember. It's Vegas. I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. But Vegas was an okay race. We ended up having Larson lock himself into the final four, so that was cool. Overall, Bell ran him down pretty good last lap too. They ended up coming across the finish line right behind each other. I think Bell had a little bobble there. There was about 14 to go. They were pretty close. They weren't. I think Bell actually had his pit crew probably throw for him too last week, and again, it actually is going to end up happening this week. But some stuff going on there. It was a pretty good race. Nothing too crazy to comment on though. Other than that, that's pretty much all that happened last week. Rolling into this week, we went to Homestead. Homestead, I thought, was a great race. I think it always provides good racing with this new package. I'll be honest with you. The lanes just make it so much more enjoyable of a race to watch. You can see guys pick a lane. You can see how the dirty air works. So it makes for a cool race. Our boy C. Bell ended up picking up a win after, a late race shakeup, I'd like to say, about with like 50 to go in the race. We had a caution come out, made a little interesting race. Other than up until that point, we had Blaney and Larson were battling each other. Then coming on the pit road for green flag stops, they were like the first two guys to come in, aside from I think a couple other cars that were not relevant in the upper top 10 battle. Coming into the pit road, I think this is just based off of what I saw. I think Larson ended up blowing the pit road, and he hit the barriers, and that was tough because he ended up being out of the race after that. And then it was a hard hit. It was rough. They were sent.
It looked like him. Well, him and Blaney made contact, but it was his fault, man. He was being too aggressive. He got into the back of Blaney. It unsettled the car. He went out. He went to the right and just boom.
Blaney was, I don't know how accurate NBC's speed trackers are, but it showed Blaney entering at 45 miles an hour.
So I know Blaney was a little bit slower than he should have been on the actual pit lane, but I think Larson was still coming in way too hot.
I do too. But that was what some of that interests me, that if Blaney wasn't there, could he have made it?
Yeah, I don't know, because he did have to kind of like, it almost looked like he like locked up a little bit, or like had that like sliding under braking when you're braking so hard it slides, because that's what actually ended up sending him into the barriers. But they did actually touch a bit. He did get a nick of the right rear of Blaney. It did pretty good damage to Larson's car. He ended up going behind the wall, and I don't think he ended up coming back out. So that was tough for him.
Oh no, he was done.
He was probably set to go win that race. So him and Blaney were going back and forth. It's hard to really say who was going to win. But after that, it kind of shook up the race. And then Blaney had a pretty good run there on that restart. And then it ended up him and Denny started battling. And then Denny ended up blowing a tire, which I can't say I wasn't jumping for joy when that happened.
No, it wasn't a tire.
Wasn't it a tire? What happened?
No.
I didn't hear about it.
If you look at him in pit lane, all his tires were full. It had to be something in the suspension that broke.
Oh, he must have broke a suspension piece then. Because anyways, he ended up flying into the wall. Like he was on like almost the bottom lane of the track. And then all of a sudden we just watched him go right up the track into the fence. So something must have broke on that car. We don't know what it was. I thought it was a tire, but I guess obviously the replays didn't do a very good job of showing us what happened. So, oh well on that part. But it was, it was, other than that, I think it then ended up, Bell ended up getting a good run there on the restart after he was chasing down Byron, got by Byron, and then I think Blaney and Reddick ended up getting by Byron too. I don't know why he went backwards so quick, and we ended up finishing it out that way. So good race for the Blaney bathtub. We're doing pretty good. He's 10 above the cutoff line, so no complaints there.
I got a question. Just answer this. Who called Christopher Bell getting into the Final Four by a win?
You did,
Darman.
But I also said to look out for Bell, even though he doesn't have a mustache.
Oh, brother. So, anyways, our championship four is starting to. It's half full now, so we'll have to see how the rest of this goes. But if you didn't get a chance, I mean, I probably should have said this before I spoiled everything. But if you don't get a chance, you should go watch that race. It was pretty good. I can't lie. Good the whole race.
I got a question, and since we haven't talked about this point, I didn't know if you were going to bring it up or not. Martin Truex engine looks like it's about to go.
Forgot about that too.
If you're the crew chief, I leave him on the track. Like,
why?
Points. Like, the worst you're out of the race and you cause a caution, the best you finish the race and get something.
Yeah, I don't know. He was so down on power, though. Like, you might just end up causing more damage than doing good. I mean, I know they got lots of money, but if it's already on the way to blowing up, you might as well save it than chuck a rod through the block or something stupid, you know? It's hard to say.
Not how everything's set up. Like, you get more money by advancing to the Final Four than you do by not making it, right?
Yeah, but they still finished last on the lead lap anyways, though. So what's the difference? Or, well, last not on the lead lap, but last of those cars that were still in contention, right? So I don't think it would have really made a difference, especially if he started going really down on power. Like, realistically, let's say he rode it around, finished last, laps down because it was so slow. Then, plus NASCAR probably would make you pull it off too because they're worried about oiling the track. So, yeah, anyways, I don't think it would have been worth it. I think it just made more sense to pull off, but I see what you mean, though.
I guess I'm just that old school guy. I'm just like,
run it till it blows, man. Run it till it blows. But anyways, back to our championship four. I did forget Truex. Truex had a shitty time, too. I can't blame the guy. He's got no luck. So, he's been rough since the playoffs started. He got carried through the round of 16 and the round of 12 by his wins, or his regular season win and the bonus points you get. So, you know what? I can't say I feel bad for him because honestly, he hasn't been performing. But oh well.
Could you on Seabell though? Like, his pit crew tried to screw him again.
Yeah, he's got to get a better pit crew. They're always like half a second slower, and it sounds like it's not a lot, but in NASCAR now the pit stops like really do matter. Like, it used to be like 14, 16 seconds was a good stop. Now it's like, and you could be a second off and it wouldn't make a difference. Now it's like, we're running like 10-second pit stops, 9-second pit stops, sometimes 8. Like, you need to be on it. Well, so it's huge.
Under caution, like they came in, he came in with the lead and left in third.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good. He always loses spots on cautions and stuff. So it's shitty for him for sure. But other than that, I think we covered everything in the race. Is that all now, Norman? I don't remember. I think everything else, that was good. That was pretty much it. I just missed Truex.
That's your major bullet points.
Yeah, all the major bullet points. So Seabell locks himself in, so that leaves Seabell and Larson at the top of the Final Four. The current two that are still in by points is actually Byron and Blaney. So I would anticipate Byron would need to have a really, really bad Martinsville race, like taken out in stage 1 to not make it through. Or, doesn't get any stage points and gets taken out late in the race or something like that. But other than that, he's pretty much locked himself in. If he can get a stage win or two, he's probably pretty much good to go at that point. Blaney's currently 10 above the cutoff line. This was thanks to Denny and Truex having pretty rough races. And then that leaves Reddick, Truex, Hamlin, and Buescher currently out. So I will say, though, this is going to be pretty crazy because I think a lot of these guys are going to be in must-wins because you're going to, honestly, at this point of the round of 8, you see everybody taking stage points if there's a caution before the stage or stuff like that. Nobody comes in early. They're not trying to go for the win. The only person who might be doing that is Buescher being 43 down because he's in a must-win at this point. But Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, even Blaney, they're all in that like 10 to 17 point range where Blaney's 10 up. The rest, Reddick's 10 down. Truex and Hamlin are both 17 down. They're pretty much in a must-win as well. because or they need, one of the guys in front to wreck. So, it's going to be a pretty crazy race. Like if we could have a big one that takes out some championship contender. You don't even know. It's going to be nuts though. It's everything NASCAR's ever wanted to fabricate some entertainment. That's all I'm saying. This is going to be nuts. So.
But at Martinsville, you can't pit early under green because you're going.
Oh yeah, true.
Down.
You can't do that anyway, so that doesn't even matter more. So yeah, no, it's gonna be literally guys are gonna be. The good thing Logano's not here because Truex would be getting taken out. So, so
he still might get taken out.
It's true.
Logano was gonna go for that win.
It's true. So
he doesn't care.
It's true. I was thinking if we end up finishing in this championship 4 order, it's going to be all the Dirt Boys fighting for the championship. We got Seabell, Kyle Larson, Blaney does dirt, Byron's on dirt. I think Reddick does some dirt too, to be honest with you. So that'd be kind of cool too. So you never know. Anything can happen in the Final Four. You see it, like the best cars on track. On track are definitely Larson, Byron, Truex, and Hamlin, but you see it. Someone slips in
this race.
You see someone slips and Seabell makes his way in. And yeah, nobody's going to wall ride this race, thankfully. Ross Chastain's not here, so let's see.
Well, also it's illegal now.
Yeah, it's illegal too, so Buescher's got to get in fair and square. So
I don't think it's happening.
No, I don't think it would be worth it.
No. Dude, early in that race, he was 5 miles an hour a lap off the pace.
Buescher, yeah.
That was on like lap 19. I was like, dude, that must be a gut check.
Yeah. I would have lost money if I bet on it. I thought he was going to do really well in the playoffs. I guess he did.
But yeah. I still think he did. Like, I'd be ecstatic in that equipment. You beat your teammates. But anyway, so what are we looking at? Moving on to Formula One now?
Yeah, I mean, other than that, NASCAR, we run into Martinsville next week, and then we got the Phoenix Championship 4, so all back to back. That pretty much sums up everything. Here's hoping Blaney makes it through, but do we want to revise our championship 4? What do we think's going to happen at Martinsville? I mean, Seabell and Larson are locked in. Who do we think's taking those last 2 spots? I think Willie B's a guaranteed thing, but I think that next spot's a complete toss-up. I don't think Blaney's got that secured at all. And you could easily see someone like Reddick somehow pulling something off and winning or getting in or something nuts. And you know what? I wouldn't count Truex or Hamlin out at that track. They both are going to do well there.
I think it's going to be Hamlin, it's going to be Truex, or it's going to be Blaney. But it's going to be one of those 3 winning the race.
I wouldn't be surprised. At this point, you have to pretty much win. Like, I mean, shit, haven't all like the other races been pretty much won by playoff drivers too? Like who else locked in? There was 2 lock-in winners in the round of 12, 3 lock-in winners in the round of 16. We're fixing to probably have the most wins to get like in the playoff rounds by playoff drivers. Like I wouldn't be surprised if someone wins the championship 4 by winning the race too. Like that's pretty nuts. At least it goes to show you that it's kind of working too. The good thing I will say about this season though is at least like the guys in the championship are all guys that are up there in what would be a full-length season standings championship. So at least it's a little bit more like, okay, whoever wins kind of deserves it this year. It's not like, other years where it's like, oh, why is Ross Chastain there? Like he's like, 11th in points or something. So other than that, that is NASCAR. Let's roll ourselves into the Austin, Texas Grand Prix, baby. I know Dave likes Texas. That's
deep in the heart of Texas. That's right.
So
I gotta say the national anthem off the observation deck was pretty cool.
Yes, I thought that was wicked. Coda's a very cool place, man. If you have not been to the Circuit of the Americas, it is a very, very cool place. I have.
When it comes to racing,
I have not driven in a race on the Circuit of the Americas. I have driven passenger in an Audi R8 on a hot lap, and that was fucking cool. But it is a cool place. I think it's a good track. I love Coda. I think it's an awesome racetrack. I think it provides decent racing. I think it's the best track in the United States. Can we all agree on that? by a long shot.
I think it's the best track that F1 goes to in the United
It's
States.
the best. It is
Yeah.
the pinnacle of U.S. Formula One racing.
I
There
think
you
it's
go.
cool. There you go. I think it's cool. I don't like the track that much, to be completely honest with you. I've never liked it from driving it and from watching. It's like kind of, but it puts on a good show. I mean, shit, if you're gonna go somewhere in the U.S., you might as well go to Texas. Like that's, they built the perfect, beautiful looking track too.
Oh, we need a shirt that says that. If you're going to go anywhere in the U.S., you should go to Texas.
You should go to Texas.
No, we don't need that
Howdy,
shirt.
damn it.
Unless you're watching a NASCAR race, then you don't want to go to Texas. But other than that,
No, I thought
Or an Indy race.
I thought overall the Formula One weekend was good. The attendance we found out was down from last year.
Oh, really? What was it? I'm curious.
It was 432 this year. It was 440 last year. That's a weekend attendance. And so if you
said
didn't listen,
240?
440. 440,000.
440.
Yeah.
And how much was it last year?
Last year it was 440,000. This year it was 432,000. That's
okay.
Weekend
that's
attendance.
Realistically nothing.
yeah.
But real quick, I got a question.
looked
That was all
bad.
that was all the Latifi fans leaving.
What doesn't a NASCAR, and I'm not talking about like the 500, but I'm thinking about like Talladega. You got 200,000 fans there on a Sunday.
I should check that. But I mean, it's weekend attendance is, if you didn't listen to our, I think it was like lap 11 or 12 or something. I talked about how attendance is not, that attendance number they show is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday entries
it's
at the
not
gate
accurate.
combined. Yeah. It's not how many people were there on race day. But what I can tell you from going to COTA is that COTA is very candid about their capacity, because Austin is very anal about their fire marshal code and occupancy. And I'm pretty sure their occupancy is like 200,000 or 250,000 people. Don't quote me on that. But I've heard rumors that they underreport attendance on purpose because it saves them quite a bit of money. So I would believe that there was 200,000, 180 to 200,000 people there on race day. There had to be.
Yeah,
least.
I will. The 2023 Daytona 500 had about 150,000 from what I read back when it came out. So I know they definitely pull more. Like without a doubt, you should. It's a global sport versus a national sport. But NASCAR does.
It's also
pretty
like
good,
8 times the
considering, though.
price, dude.
Yeah, it's also 8 times the price. Like you already know, if the prices were more reasonable and there was a facility that could withstand 1 million people, there'd be 1 million people there. Like, you know what I mean? It's there without
The
a
fact
doubt.
that Formula One's able to do it 3 times in the US this year is,
Yeah, and that was the
crazy.
cheapest event out of all of them too.
yeah.
Put it to you this
Crazy.
way: from my reports, maybe not 200, but 100,000, over 100,000 were expected at Sunday's race for Talladega in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think those numbers are realistic for a Sunday big
So
race. People love
if
racing.
you think about their whole weekend, I think they're sitting 100,000 less than Formula One.
I mean, Formula One is definitely not the most popular racing series in the United States, for sure. NASCAR is the most popular racing series in the United States.
Yeah.
For sure. The ratings show it, the attendance show it, the merch walking down the street shows it, the random person that walks up to your counter with a Dale Earnhardt shirt. I mean, like, it's embedded in American culture, NASCAR. You know?
I think what I'm trying to get at too here is this whole I love Formula One. Like, I choose Formula One over NASCAR. It was on my main monitor why the NASCAR race was on my third monitor today.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't understand this whole US push that we're getting, because I don't think it's there.
I think it's a
I think they're too it's just too expensive. I think that's the problem. I think you'd see
Yeah.
way more people there. Like it's one of those things where you're competing with $40 NASCAR tickets versus, $4,000 F1 tickets. Like, you know what I mean? It's just unreasonable. Nobody wants to go pay those absurd prices for something like that. And they come three times.
Formula One is a master at experience-based economy marketing. And so Netflix leads to increased interest, scarcity increases demand. So now you have all these people in the US, but they have to go to Austin if they want to see a race. So if you live in California or New York, like if you're not from the US, that's a long way, man. That's a really long way. So, now there's this demand to create tracks. Well, now there's less scarcity. So demand and supply are going to equal out eventually. And I think we're there. And now we go backwards because I think, like you said, that's normal though. So like we went further in the supply and now it's like, oh shit, numbers are going down. And so now we see the tickets get cheaper is my point. Like supply and demand equal price. So I'm happy about it because for my wife, my son who's 2, and me to go to Austin, Texas, which is 3 hours from where I live, it still would have been like fucking $2,000 to $4,000 to go to this Formula One race. Like if I just wanted to drive on Sunday and drive back, that's fine. But like still 3-hour drive with a kid, like you still want to get a hotel room, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so even without flights, and the tickets are, I think Costco is finally doing them for like $300 or $400 for general admission 3-day pass. But like with a kid, it's tough. So I would really like, even if it's a bleacher seat, that's kind of something, you know what I mean? So it adds up. But still, even if I went general admission, the cheapest ticket I wanted to buy and drove there with gas, it still would have been like $1,800 without a hotel. So yeah, that's too expensive, dude. Like I'm going to go to the 24 hours of Daytona in January. And with tickets, the flights, the rental car, and the hotel, I'm not going to spend over $2,000.
Yeah, it's not worth it unless it's like for like the first time ever, maybe. But like to do
which I
every
had my
year,
experience, and the best seat in the house is on TV, baby. Like you can see the whole race. It's great.
I feel like it is too. From everyone I've heard that's gone to a race, like there's this girl at one of my coworkers who went to the Austrian Grand Prix this year, and she's like, it was so cool to experience in person, but she's like, the actual race, she's like, we were just staring at a TV the whole time, and then there they come, and then 30 seconds later, the rest of the field comes by after Max goes by, but like they're like, there's Max. Okay, hang on, hold on, wait. Oh, there's Lewis in second. And then, 19 other cars go by.
I think Formula One realizes that. And I think that they can, it's like a Taylor Swift concert. Like Taylor Swift could charge $40 and tour over and over and over and over and over again and like make a bunch of money. Or she could be this like cult following fucking $400 ticket and she's a fucking mermaid and she flies in on a, but your seats are in the nosebleeds behind the stage. You can't fucking see it anyway, because you can't afford the good ticket. So, I think they get it. Like everyone's going to swipe that credit card once and that's fine. And then Miami and Vegas go away after like 2028 and Austin needs to get resurfaced. We see the USGP go away or maybe just go to Vegas for like some sort of stupid casino themed fucking pit bull race like the Coliseum of Formula One. But no, I don't think we see Formula One become this like embedded love of American culture. I really do think it was a flash in the pan. I think they're going to retain fans like me. Like that got me. I'm a life fan of Formula One. So I would say like maybe, what do you say, guys? Like 15-20% of your Drive to Survivors are going to stick around. Maybe.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is you lose the exclusivity of it by having the 3 Grand Prix. And I think that's kind of like F1's always kind of been an exclusive type thing. Like, each country only
Right.
has one race aside from, Italy's got somehow two, which only has happened recently. And I mean, shit, Italy's been there forever. So like, are we surprised? No. And they're still different from each other and still get crazy attendances. But the US was like, Austin is cool. Great. Like, you know what? As much as I actually don't like the track, and that's just me, like, it's just the actual driving of the track that I don't like. Everything around it's great. Facility seems awesome.
Right.
But me not liking the track aside, I really don't think Miami and Vegas deserve a race. I think that Miami track sucks. I don't know why they ever chose to go to Miami and make a track. Vegas, I guess I can kind of understand, sports betting's huge. Like you say, we talk about it all the time on here with all the betting and everything and what Vegas thinks. So, having something go down the strip is huge for them. That's like the biggest money grab race you could possibly have. So, but where I was going with that was it's no longer exclusive when you have all those things. So I think most people would rather just pay the money to go to Texas and enjoy that. Like nobody normal is going to go to Vegas or Miami because it's just so stupidly expensive that it just makes no sense. So I think those are going to go for sure eventually, or at least we're going to lose 2 out of 3 races. I think it's just a time period that we're in where it's been booming in the U.S. because of Drive to Survive and all this stuff. And just now, finally, they're like, oh, there's a market for it. Let's go like there while we can. But
it takes time to do R&D and build shit. That's why we didn't see this already in 2020.
Yeah.
And so like this is it, like everything else, you're slow to the game with actual business. That's just how the world works. And so now we're going to see it hit a little late. We're going to see all the people find a stride. We'll get some lifelong fans. Like as a new dad, like taking my kid to a race is like the best. Like I'm going to give Formula One a lot more money in the next 10 years. I know that but not for me. I could give a shit. I'm going to sit on my couch and watch the race because I can actually see it and I can put my slippers on and drink, beer that's $1.50 to $2, not $12 a beer. And, I can enjoy the race, but the kiddos want to go see the race. And I think that NASCAR has the monopoly on the market when it comes to that marketing of like bring your kid to the race. And Formula One's good at it too, because like when we went to Austin, I didn't have a kid then, but there was this huge long line to get like Danny Ricciardo's signature. But like there was this like line where if you were a kid, they would just send you straight up. And so like no adults got his signature. It was all kids, like back and forth. And so Formula One definitely prioritized it. But man, NASCAR, they got websites and Formula One's doing it too. But anyway, you got to support the kids.
I personally, I don't know how much it really costs to go to the race in Texas, but I'm going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, say I'm traveling from out of town. It's going to cost me probably what, $5,000 to $8,000 hotel, flight, getting all there from Alabama.
If for one person, so if you're a member at Costco in Texas, so if you had a friend, I'm just giving you the best case scenario here,
Okay.
right? So let's say you call me like, yo, I want to go to the Austin race. I'm a Costco member. I think it was like $350 plus tax for a 3-day general admission pass if you're a Costco member. So I get you this pass, right? That's not bad. That's really not bad because on their website, it was like upwards of $600 or something like that for a 3-day
But
general
that's
admission.
just general admission. I don't get paddock or any of
Nothing.
that.
Yeah, it's GA Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'll tell you, the GA at Coda's pretty good. But as you saw on TV, that's a sea of people. Like, it's not comfortable general admission. It's like being at a rock concert all day in the sun, which is sucky. And then I'm from Texas. It's hot. So I give you that. The flight, let's call that there and back. Best case scenario,
$500.
Oh, I don't think it'll be that much. I think you could get a flight for
No, it'll be that much now.
maybe.
Planes are ridiculous right now.
I was gonna say like $350 if you something like that.
Maybe I could get away with $350. Okay.
Hotel in Austin at that time is going to be tough. You're going to spend probably over $1,000 on 3 nights. You're probably going to want to stay the night you get there, Thursday, and then leave on Monday, or you might fly home Sunday. So let's call it 4 nights. So you're going to spend 25, maybe 20, or not, 15 to, 13 to $1,500 on lodging. And then believe me when I say on merch and beer, you're going to spend $300 or $400 at the track, at least.
Minimum,
dude.
I got to eat.
Oh, well, I mean, food truck foods, that one meal is going to be $25, $30. Your beers are 10 to 15. You want a cocktail, that's like $20, maybe more. I think the beers might have been 18, actually. They were expensive. Your merch, we were chatting today on video chat, that mechanic shirt that I was wearing, that Red Bull mechanic shirt.
Yeah.
I think that one was like $90 or $100 for that shirt. And then,
so what I'm getting at
dude, yeah,
is I would rather say for 5 years.
Let's call it $3,000. I think for $3,000 to $4,000, you could go, if you had hookups. If you didn't have hookups, you'd probably spend 5 to 6. I think $8,000's too much, but
I would rather save for 5 years and have $15,000 and all pump it into flying over and going to watch the Spa race than going to the Austin Grand Prix.
It's funny.
That's
you don't
where
even
I'm at.
need that much money to go to Spa. It's
no,
cheaper.
it's not.
Yeah,
It's not.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know. That's me personally being an F1 fan. I would rather go watch Spa, Silverstone, the German Grand
Make
Prix.
a trip out of it.
One of the Italian
something.
Grand Prix.
Yeah, because those flights, that flight's going to be just a couple $100 more. The ticket's going to be cheaper. Everything else is going to be cheaper. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm looking at the Hungarian GP. I'm looking at the
y'all can call me.
I think Hungary,
y'all can
Austria,
call me
and
crazy.
Belgium are one of the few cheapest ones.
Dude, yeah.
I would like to go to the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Oh man, I don't know.
I don't know about Rio de Janeiro or whatever.
I've heard some questionable things about being not Brazilian and going to that race. I don't know how else to say that.
So let's just get into the Austin Grand Prix.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was packed.
Diverge,
we diverted a little bit. It was packed. It was obviously popular. I don't need to be the leader on this. I watched the race. I was a little distracted, but it was the start was good. The race was not. I don't think the race is what it lived up to be. And my 2 cents. I think let's talk about this first, guys. I don't like the whole qualifying sprint shootout one. And then this is we're gonna decide pole for and then we'll do another race, and then that race is gonna decide.
No, this format sucks,
dude. I honestly, I still don't know how it works. I haven't Googled it.
Friday, it's just Friday practice 1 and qualifying, and then Saturday is solely a sprint day. So there's another qualifying for the sprint races, or for the sprint race, and then there's a sprint race, and then Sunday is just you take the results from Friday and use it.
So Saturday had no implications for Sunday at all.
No, it's basically 2 qualifyings and 2 races, and they don't affect each other.
But it's Parc Fermé the whole time.
To my understanding, I think after Friday, isn't it? Or no, it's the sprint race open. Yeah, I think after the Friday
it's
qualifying, you're screwed. Yeah, that's why Haas started at the back, because they did adjustments, because their car sucked. They were just like, well, why would we start and suck?
It's a terrible format.
You get one effing practice to set your car up for the whole weekend.
Yeah, no, this reminds me of when NASCAR during COVID was doing no practice or qualifying, and it was just stupid because nobody who should have been good was good because they had no time to practice. It was just dumb. I don't like it.
It's gimmicky. And I feel like that's part, like what we were talking about with the American market. This is all gimmicky shit. This is what they want. They want more racing and less thinking. I don't know. I don't think it'll stick around. Just like the Miami Grand Prix, I don't think it's going to stick around this format.
If we're going to keep this crap, go back to the sprint qualifying races, where the race actually means that's where you're starting.
I still didn't like it, but I like that more than this for sure.
Well, okay, hear
if
me
I
out.
gotta have it, I'll take that.
Hear me out. If I've been saying this, but hear me out. If they want a sprint race so bad, then why don't they just do what they literally do in the other two series, in F2 and F3? Just literally have Friday B2 practices, Saturday do a qualifying, Saturday do a sprint race. On the sprint race, the only thing you got to do is take that exact qualifying grid and just do an invert, and then have your race on Sunday, and then don't make Saturday's finishing order matter. Like it matters for points, sure, but Sunday, just take that Saturday qualifying grid again and just use it again. That's all they do. So Saturday, they take it. It's literally a sprint shootout. That is what it defines as. Because all you're doing is you're taking qualifying's grid, you're putting it into the Saturday sprint race grid, and you're just flipping the top 10. So pole starts 10th, and now it's like a dash for cash race sort of thing. And then Sunday is still unaffected because all you do is you just take Saturday's race. That's all it does. I think that's the best way to go about it. And that's exactly what they do in the lower categories. So why not do it the same? Why does it have to be different? This second qualifying session is fucking stupid. It needs to go.
I can get behind that.
It makes sense.
If we had anything that is better than what we had last year and 1,000 times better than what we have this year.
Yeah, the sprint qualifying is a better alternative than what we have now, where it's just a sprint race and it does affect the order. But the problem is then nobody wants to fight, so it gets boring. If you want it to be a true, do something race, I think the sprint's the only way to do it. But I'll be honest with you, with the R&D and all the stuff that goes into this car and them being smart enough to know that they don't... The reason the sprint races work in F2 and F3 is because those guys are fighting to get to the next level so they can have an invert and they still want to win. If you put an invert in F1, they don't care because the sprint doesn't matter that much. You're giving out 8 points if you win and a few for the rest. It's not much. It's not worth it to go wreck your car and be now out on Sunday or do catastrophic damage that does, you got to get a new engine for Sunday or something like that. It's not worth it. I don't think it'll work. I think realistically they should just keep it as what we've been doing for forever. But if they do go through with it, do that F2, F3 sprint style system. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Nobody's going to like it.
Wasn't it Perez that they had to build too much of his car back that they told him that he brought up? It's like they just built a new car, so he's got to start from pit lane.
I don't know. Somebody had it, though. It was just what's the point?
Yeah, it's dude, that just showed you that, we're not going to race that hard. It's what's the point now? You really just screwed yourself on that whole debate. Yeah, it's dumb. But I guess rolling into the actual race. So it was a decent race, I guess. There's the 1 and 2 or the 2. Was it 2 and 3 stop strategies, or was that what it was, or was it 1 and 2? I wasn't paying attention. I'm not gonna lie. I missed the first
1
half.
and 2.
I was watching a lot of
1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
1 and
so
2.
It did make for a little bit of interestingness, I guess we can say. I don't know. Does somebody else want to run through the highlights of what happened? I didn't really pay too much attention to that.
Well, getting into the strategy, not really highlights, but we'll get into the strategy debate. Excuse me. I disagree with Norris's strategy. Now he was my win pick, so I was really focused on him. I felt that he should have tried to run a little bit longer on the hards and switch to the mediums and not try to cover Max. But him going to the hards, I think, screwed him over. And you knew Hamilton was going to the mediums because he ran 5 laps longer on his first stop. And I literally think that all Norris had to do is run 5 more laps, and it would have helped him. I don't know if y'all got any comments on that.
Yeah, I do. I mean, so I think McLaren. First of all, Zach Brown and McLaren and Lando Norris realized they're racing Max Verstappen. I'm kind of with you. I felt like they should have at least tried something different to shake it up. But maybe they just knew that on whatever tire they chose, Max was going to have optimum pace, because we kind of had reason to believe that.
Real quick, I honestly don't know what tires he had left either to choose from.
Neither do I. So who knows what happened there? But I think McLaren gave it hell, and I was with you. I was a little surprised to see him try to compete with Max head to head on strategy. That was like, I don't know who would actually attempt that without a large gap, which he didn't have. He was actually behind him at the beginning of that sequence. So that's like, I don't know what we're doing, but yeah. So, I mean, I still think he's the driver of the day. He did get the driver of the day vote today, but
I actually will disagree with that. I don't think he was the driver of the day.
who's your driver of the day?
Well, before knowing what has come out now, which we'll get into that, Hamilton's the driver of the day.
Okay. Yeah.
Hamilton, I thought, drove a better race than Norris did.
Yeah. But he's not.
Because Norris started second, Hamilton started fourth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the start was good. I mean, I will give Norris that. I thought that was a really ace start from Lando taking the lead. I thought he covered all the positions correctly. It was clean. It was nice. He's just not Max Verstappen. That was his only problem today, is that he was not Max Verstappen. Because I don't think it's
he was.
I don't think it's that he's not in a Red Bull. I think it's that he's not Max Verstappen. I'm really starting to lean towards that because we've been on this whole like, oh, well, it's the team and all the drivers are perfect. And that's something I've been saying is like the assumption in Formula One is that every driver's the exact same. It's the car, that's why we're here. It's like drivers are perfect,
I think today, if Norris is in Perez's car and starting second, Norris wins.
I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think if Max is in Norris's car starting second and Norris is in Max's car, Max still wins. This guy's bonkers, dude.
That's a bold statement.
He's putting 22-second gaps on second place in some races. Like, I really...
So you're saying Max is the GOAT?
Yeah, I think he's the greatest driver ever, for sure. And it sucks because he's kind of...
That's to be determined. I can't get into that debate right now.
He's kind of a little... I don't know, prick. I don't know how else to say it, but like,
he's a prick.
But like, I do think that this kid is the dude. He's the GOAT.
I'm telling you, NASCAR. I mean, I'm not NASCAR. I'm telling you, F1 needs an all-star race like NASCAR has, so that we can get them in F2 cars and see how it goes.
That shit, wouldn't that be badass?
Yeah. That would be so much better than the actual racing. Like,
they could never show their hand, dude. They could never show their hand.
Then we wouldn't have these debates.
I still think it would be cool to throw them all in one, though, just for like a. You know what, man? Just give them like a generic F1 car or something. I guess you can use an F1 car.
Fun conversation. Fun conversation. All right, it's F1 Mario Kart.
I think it would be fun to see.
It's F1 Mario Kart. They're all in the same cart. Who's your top three?
But dude, honestly, let's just throw them in a kart race. Like seriously, that'll really tell us who's.
But who's your
like,
top three?
A kart's almost
like who's the bet? Who would take 1, 2, and 3?
I know I heard someone soul saying that
in that race.
1, 2, 3. I think hands down you're gonna see. So okay, the only thing I'm gonna say is a lot of people count out Leclerc, but I actually think if you gave Leclerc the car, he could win the championship like Max is doing. Now, don't get me wrong, he makes mistakes. I'm not saying he doesn't. He's not perfect. He's not Mr. Consistent. I don't agree with that. But in regards of who can perform like Max performance, I think on the grid at the moment, I think Max, not in any order by the way, I think Max, Lewis, Norris and Leclerc are probably the 4 best. I think they're better than Russell personally. I think Russell's too inconsistent. But he's still technically new to driving a fast car kind of thing, right? So are we surprised? No. Do I think he's worse than everyone there? No. Like he's probably just as good. But I think Lewis's experience though is one of those things where it's like if you really truly wanted to find out who is the best, you'd have to get them all at a certain time of their career when they were at their peak or something like that. Because the problem is no matter what you do and how even the cars are, like Lewis has the most experience, so he should win, like logically speaking, right? So yeah, it's hard to say. I think we have a fantastic grid, and I think it's, everybody can say what they want about new generation drivers. I think this is probably the most competitive grid we've ever seen.
I think I'm gonna just throw some. I don't know if these are my actual picks, but I'm gonna throw some dark horse names out there. I think Alexander Albon is incredibly talented.
I think he's great too. Yes, I agree.
I think he's slept on. I think he got his shot and kind of got dicked a little. But no, dude, Alexander Albon impresses me week after week, year after year. I think he puts his nose, like, how often do you guys find yourself saying, like, holy shit, like Albon, or like P11, like, or, whatever. Like, it's consistent. Like, dude is good in a race car. I also think that everyone has forgotten that Fernando Alonso's on the grid.
Oh, yeah, right. I did forget. You know what? I did forget too. He would be right there too. You know what? Top 3 wise, I would have to change.
Dude, you put Hamilton and Alonso in the same equipment. I gotta take Fernando Alonso, dude. I just have to.
I don't actually know who'd win that.
He's a killer. He's just a killer, and he's got instinct. I think Hamilton does too, but like you said, it's kind of when they were in our.
I think it comes down to qualifying.
Well, Verstappen, Alonso, and Hamilton would be the 3 best that I would pick.
It's when you come down to their career, like you said. Like, I think Hamilton in younger years was special and still is special, but like Fernando Alonso is still a monster. Like a monster.
That is true. I won't disagree with that. 100%.
So yeah.
You know what other guy people forgot about and probably don't even know about because they didn't watch F2 and 3? Guan Yu Zhou is a unit in F2.
Yes.
Nobody saw that guy's career in F2. He was unreal, and he got put in a friggin' Alfa Romeo. It's so sad. He's just wasting away. He's wasting away.
Badass helmet this weekend too.
Oh, I didn't see it, but the poor guy's wasting away at Alfa Romeo. I really would love to see if he could do it top equipment, because watching the guy in F2 was like, holy shit, dude. This guy's aggressiveness is nuts. And he would throw it in and it would stick. He could do some crazy shit that I've never seen before.
Yep.
He's one of those
Yuki
guys
was
where
like that.
If you don't know him. Yeah, Yuki was too. Sonoda in F2 was like unreal. And then you see them in like these mid to back to marker cars and you're like, fuck. Like, I don't know if that's actually how good he is,
Yeah.
I think qualifying would decide that race, like definitely in a kart race. I think you would have to do like a qualifying, set the field, let them race, and then invert the field after that race to like really get a feel for it. Because I literally think once they took off, like, I'm just gonna say Max qualifies on pole, and then you have Leclerc and then Norris and Hamilton.
You're racing for hundreds at that point. Yeah, they're all going to be neck and neck.
There's no way you're getting around any of those guys. Those guys are going to drive so well that they're not going to be able to pass each other. So I think you have to it literally comes down to
I guess the better question is who doesn't show up. Like, I hate to say it. I think I just haven't seen the talent out of Pierre Gasly this year than I thought I would. He's not showing up at all. And he's had the resume. He's been in larger teams like Red Bull. He has been on the podium a lot. He's just not doing it for me this year at all. I love the French thing. I love that. That's really, really cool. But I think Alpine, maybe with their investor group, are going to see something better. But with all of the engine problems like we saw today, retirements,
Ocon.
all of I don't know, man. He's just uninspired. So I think he's back of the grid. I think Esteban Ocon's a good driver. I've always felt like he's a really solid driver. So maybe it's just Alpine that's just sucking. And like what you said about Zhou, I think you're absolutely right, because if Alfa Romeo had anything to show, then Bottas would be scoring points because he's a phenomenal driver. And we know that. Like, we know that dude's solid and can be consistent. And it's not like he doesn't know the tracks. Like, dude has won COTA. So, it's obvious that their kit is bad.
He's bringing in a paycheck, and he's happy at what he's doing
He's drinking beer, growing mullets, drinking coffee. Stellar.
Yeah.
So, no. I do think Norris is excellent. I think Leclerc is excellent. But we're going to have many, many years to see them be excellent. So I don't think the story's over for those guys,
I hope so, because I think Leclerc's going to freaking drink too much freaking booze here shortly, fucking after driving for Ferrari for so long.
Dude, he's a world champion.
Yes.
He's a killer.
He could have been in 2022 if they had the car. That's all I'm saying.
Speaking of Leclerc and Hamilton, I guess we should jump into the breaking news that just happened, hours ago?
Not even about 45 minutes ago, an hour ago. So, they got investigated
and I guess
for
recording this Sunday evening after the two races, so
yeah, they got investigated there.
This is breaking news for us.
Yeah, so they got investigated for their floors during the final stint of that. It was very close. So they got investigated for, there is a rule saying your floor can only wear so much. They have this like strip of wood. I don't remember what they called the rule. It was like a plank rule or something. And essentially what it is it can only wear so much before your car is deemed illegal because I don't know if this came in recently or if this has been here forever. Last time I remember hearing about it was like Schumacher getting DQ'd in the late 90s. But essentially there's this board on the bottom of the car, and if it wears too much, you get DQ'd. It's to prevent them from running too low of ride heights. So I guess Leclerc and Hamilton, unfortunately, were guilty to this. And this is what happened, unfortunately. So that had a big effect on the race.
Yes, it did. Huge.
Oh, here I found the actual rule. So the two drivers were in breach of Article 3.5.9E of the 2023 Formula One technical regulations. This reads, the thickness of the plank assembly measured normal to lower surface must be 10 millimeters plus or minus and 0.2 millimeters. Oh, sorry. 10 millimeters plus or minus 0.2 millimeters and must be uniform when new. A minimum thickness of 9 millimeters will be accepted due to wear, and conformity for this provision will be checked at the peripheries? That's a word? Of the designated holes. Man, I will never, British rule books are so fancily written. It's actually
And at the
insane.
dawn of the third Thursday.
It's actually reading it, I'm just struggling to comprehend even what they're trying to say. But essentially what it says, it has to be 10 millimeters plus or minus 0.2 millimeters. And if you wear it too much, you are in fact screwed. So they broke that rule. That's tough.
Dang, dude, that's tough.
So
probably running over too many curbs.
I will say this is the first time we've seen some consistency for F1 and them actually preaching practicing what they preach. So that's cool. That rule's been there a long time. I mean, we saw last time someone got DQ'd. I want to say it was Schumacher is what I saw. Another cool stat we should probably go over. Max got his 5th win. That's cool. 50th win. Holy shit. Yeah, I hope it was his 5th win this last month. But other than that, that's pretty much it for the weekend. What about you guys? You got anything else?
Another stat to go over is because of those DQs, I stay in the lead of Bennett because of our picks
because of the
week.
DQs. Logan Sargent gets a point too. I forgot that.
Yeah,
American gets a point. The last time that happened was 30 years ago with Michael Andretti.
Yeah,
so that was cool. I saw that stat too.
I'm still in the lead.
Yeah, Norman ends up. So I got the 2 out at the end of the race, but that did change after the DQs. So with the DQs, I had. I guess we should run through our picks from last week really quick, and then let's run through our new ones and then wrap it up. So last week, I had picked Hamilton to be. I'm just gonna go through wins, and then we can go through the rest later. But I picked Hamilton to win. Dave picked Russell. Levi picked Piastri. Norman picked Norris. So with the DQ, Hamilton was second. I did get the point after the race, and then I also had an in pick of Norris, so I got a second point. And then with the DQs, that eliminated Hamilton, which then put Norman into another point. And I just realized Dave had Leclerc to Bennett. So with the DQ, does he get the point for that? I don't know.
do.
We never really. That was like.
Let's give it to
I
him.
I was gonna say I
Let's
think
give
it's
it to
fair.
him.
I think it's
baby.
fair. He didn't bin it, but
Give him the
his team
point.
binned it, so we'll give him the point.
He didn't finish. Technically, he didn't finish the race. He finished the race, but didn't finish.
Yeah,
the race.
we don't actually have it like technically defined. So I mean, you know what? We'll just he did finish last. Like they classified him as 20th. I guess I don't know if he got DQ'd first or how that works.
Dude, that's
but
worse than Piastri and Ocon.
yeah, it is. They actually finished worse than guys that didn't DNF. So that's cool.
I win.
Other than that, though, it's gonna be tight. So we have the points currently stand. Norman's got 17. I have 16. Levi's got 15, and Dave's got 11. So Dave could come back. It's quite possible. There's 4 races left. So with that being said,
And we start the picks over too.
yeah.
Antonio leads us off, so it's all coming to play down these last 4 weeks.
Yeah, so and just to roll you through in it, win it, bin it, basically how it works is every week we pick 3 drivers. We want one who's going to win, one to be in, and one who's going to bin. Win defines as the highest finishing non-Verstappen car gets you 1 point. So basically we're fighting for second. In it gets you in it is defined as a driver finishes in a point scoring position, and bin it is a driver who DNFs from the race. So that
I got a question. I know we don't have Levi here, but I was thinking about this earlier, and I mentioned it today for next season, kind of changing the rules up a little. But I was thinking, like, we're it's literally all down to this last 4 races. It'd be better for even on points. So I don't think it's that great now. But what if, like, my win pick, if you pick it as your in pick, if I get the win, you get no points for your in.
Could be different. I think we should just change it around in general and try and pick something else, or like have a list of how many times you can pick it. Like we do this in this pool that I'm in, and basically you got to pick every driver once, and you can't pick a driver more than 3 times. And it's actually been a lot of fun because you come to the end of the season and you have no good drivers left, and you're like, oh shit, who do I pick this week? Who's going to finish 8th and 9th or 10th? You know what I mean? So I think that way would be more fun. But we can talk about it another time.
It just came to my mind because like. My win pick gets me a point, but you also get a point because you picked him.
Norman just wants to win. That's
pick.
really what it comes down to.
Who doesn't want to win?
Why win nothing? Who cares? I'd rather win my pool. Those DQs, clutch. Anyways, let's roll into it.
I'd rather have bragging rights because there's no money that I bet with.
Yeah, you're a Ford guy, so you need some sort of bragging rights because y'all can't brag about your trucks. Anyways.
And my truck runs perfectly freaking fine.
Isn't it a Toyota?
I have a
That's
Ford
funny.
too, so fuck you.
But the main one you drive is a Toyota.
All right, Antonio, let's kick us off for the Mexican Grand Prix.
All right. Well, we know that traditionally that Mercedes does pretty well there. So we're gonna pick Hamilton to win. I'm gonna pick Russell to be in it, and I'm gonna pick Sargent to bin it as usual. I'm going to keep up the Sargent train. He just got points, but you know what? He's going to bin it this week because he still sucks. All right, Dave, take us away, buddy. Oh, we did get Levi's stuff too, so I'll read that out after Dave goes. But Davis, you're up, buddy.
Perez to win it because Mexico.
Nice.
And Red Bull. Mainly Red Bull. You know what? I'm going to switch that. Perez to win it because Red Bull and Mexico. And Charles Leclerc in it. And then Bennett. Oh, let's have Mr. Oh, no, I think we're gonna have a wreck this race. I always try to swing for the fences with this one, man. I think Bennett, Dude, don't say that. Don't say that.
It's so hard to do this.
No, don't say that.
Really?
Bennett, we'll take a safe bet. Yuki Tsunoda. I'll just go ahead and take it off the table.
Safe bet.
A safe bet. The guy who's not been at all year.
Yeah, I know. He hasn't gotten us a point all year.
He's going to get me a point this year. This one.
So,
No, I think the one race we didn't pick him was the
yeah,
only race he
I was going to say, I
did.
think the one race nobody picked him. Anyways, Levi ended up picking Norris to win it. I think he's crazy. He picked Sainz to be in it.
No, he's not.
And Stroll to bin it. You think so? I don't think Norris is going to do well next race. I don't think so. I don't think McLaren's going to do good at this track, but maybe that's just me. Mexico's kind of oddball.
They haven't disappointed. I was the guy that jumped on the bandwagon with them and y'all all told me I was crazy, and now look at me in the points.
Okay, but to be fair, when you picked them at the time, you didn't get any points. Okay, well, anyways,
Who's
it's your
leading?
turn now, so go ahead.
All right. Well,
Just saying, I would have won with my picks
unfortunately-
from Imola, but we got canceled, so can't say anything.
Unfortunately, my Norris pick is gone, so I've got to go with the Piastri pick. I'm going to try to ride this McLaren train all the way to the finish line. So I'm going to go with Piastri this week to win it. To be in it, I'm going to go Hamilton, not Hamilton, Norris, because I feel like I can grab a point there. Just to be safe. My Ben pick's going to be, I just don't think Alpine's got it. And I'm going to go Pierre Gasly's going to have a malfunction.
Well, tune in next week, and we'll see if Norman's still leading. So he'll probably choke. He always does, but we'll figure it out. So this leads us into the final 4 races. So this will be good. We all get to get one final pick one time. I'm going to get shafted at the final race because I'm going to have to pick last. But nevertheless, we all get to pick.
You got to make your picks count now.
So, you know what's funny? I've picked Hamilton to win it the last 4 races. I have strong faith in Hamilton, apparently. I'm just looking at the leaderboard. And I've also picked Sargent to win it 3 of the last 4 times, too. Or, yeah, I guess including this week, 4 of the last 5.
It'd be interesting. We need to make that Google Doc public information so people can go back and like kind of see how we pick.
Yeah, I think they should be able to. You know what's funny? I think Hamilton's been picked almost every time by somebody.
I would believe it.
Well, I would doubt
He's a
it,
very
like,
good race car driver.
This is true.
And if you're down to the last pick, and he's left on the board, I would pick him.
You know what's funny? We all picked Verstappen in round 2, back when we could take Verstappen, and none of us got a point for that because Perez won that race.
That's so funny.
That's before we really had rules either.
Before we could. Yeah, I know. That was kind of stupid times. We changed that pretty quick, though. I think we changed that in round 4 because that was the only one. I don't see duplicates after that, but yeah, we'll change it up next season, make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe make it a little bit easier to follow, too. We'll see how the hell it goes, but other than that,
but on another note,
so you got something else?
Yeah. We're 2 weeks away from Team Goon Squad's Super Speedway shootout on what is that, November 6th? Am I correct on that, guys?
I think so.
At Talladega?
Isn't it the first? The first is the next Wednesday, if that's what you're asking. And otherwise, it's the 8th.
And then it's the 8th.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, it
the
is.
8th.
I have it in my calendar. Look, see the red one? TGS Talladega.
Yeah. My bad. Team Good Squad, Super Speedway Shootout, Talladega, November 8th, in the NAS truck. Will be coming to you.
I'll be claiming my second win.
Please join that. Come try to beat our asses because you ain't going to do it because we know strategy there now that Dave understands what's going on.
Does he, though?
No.
Had a feeling.
So, yeah, and I think that's
wraps us up.
All we've got for this evening. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and
see you for Sterling Marlin next week.
Yeah, we got some interesting Sterling Marlin to talk about, and hopefully Levi joins us again next week, and we'll see you. Ford's awesome, and
Ford sucks, and so does Norman. See you guys next week.